Brother, beat that thing till it's red and don't stop until it's dead. What's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. At this point in time, it's basically been about 2 weeks now since our official reveal for Pokemon Legends ZA. And as ecstatic as I am for this game, I feel like I came out of that trailer with more questions than I had going in. And you know, that's probably mostly my own fault because I assumed that we would get something kind of at least somewhat similar to the first Pokemon Legends game that we ever got. I assumed that we were going to go back into the past and actually figure out the secrets and origins of Mega Evolution. And I assumed that we were going to finally touch up on what kind of a king AZ was, what happened before and after the weapon was fired, and what happened during the war. If all of those questions weren't up in the air before, they certainly are now, because this is the most modern title we could have ever possibly gotten. So, since we're still very uncertain about a lot of this stuff, I have a couple of questions. I'm going to essentially be asking a couple of these questions and pondering about them aloud. So while I do that, why don't you go ahead, get cozy, grab a nice cool glass of Fanta, and fry up a little bit of fish for your plate, and dollop that up with some ice cream, while we talk about what the new story possibilities could be for Pokemon Legends ZA. One of my first most major questions is, what in the hell is Quasartico Inc. even up to? I have absolutely zero doubt that these guys are the antagonists of Pokemon Legends ZA. My primary issue here is that I cannot even begin to guess what their actual ulterior motive is. I mean, we gotta be completely honest with ourselves here. All you have to do is look at their designs and you can probably guess from a glance that these are probably the bad guys. And yes, I am acknowledging the fact that Pokemon has subverted our expectations before, and there could be a third party at play, but as of right now, we don't have any information like that, which means that all eyes are on these guys. Just to get a deeper understanding of their characters and Quasartico Inc., I even looked to the website to see how much information I could garner here. The first major thing of note here is the fact that Quasartico Inc. is actually the ones spearheading the urban redevelopment plan for Lumiose City. In the Wild Zone section, it reads, as part of Lumiose's urban redevelopment plan driven by a large corporation called Quasartico Inc., the city has been outfitted with wild zones in an effort to help humans and Pokemon share the city. These areas are constructed using cutting-edge technology to give Pokemon places to live. Within wild zones, you can battle Pokemon and catch them by throwing Pokeballs. Now see, the problem here is the fact that that seems like a pretty straightforward and genuine goal. Wanting to unite people in Pokemon has been like a franchise staple goal for a lot of different characters since the beginning of the franchise. So this in particular doesn't stand out as anything necessarily like unique or all that crazy. Of course, there could be plenty of underlying intentions within that goal, but I'm having a really hard time guessing what that is. Like, are they baiting all of these Pokemon into these wild areas so that they could trap them potentially and use them for some sort of power source for something? Maybe it's like a Wilson Fisk and Hell's Kitchen situation where they want to make the city as powerful as humanly possible, but not without using some dirty motives. Yeah, I watched Daredevil kind of recently, can you tell? I haven't seen Born Again, don't spoil. Anyway, that alone didn't really tell us too much, so I went to the bios of the other characters involved with Quasartico Inc. Firstly, there's Jet. Jet is the CEO of Quasartico Inc., a large corporation driving Lumiose's urban redevelopment plan with the aim of shaping the city into one that belongs to both people and Pokemon. It seems she hopes to deepen the bonds between Pokemon and people. That gives us nothing. That's basically the exact same description that we got for the wild areas. It's just somebody who wants to deepen the relationships between the people and the Pokemon by utilizing the city's wild areas. Again, I have absolutely no doubt that this is going to be kind of like a Lucamine situation in which she's probably putting on some kind of farce when we first meet her, but I mean, even then, like, we have really nothing to go on there. She's the CEO currently, but like, is she the founder? Is this like a passed down thing? How long has Quasartico Inc. even been a thing? Because we haven't heard of it until now. Where did this massive, clearly super rich company that has a lot of power and influence over Lumiose City, one of the biggest cities in the entire franchise, and specifically the biggest city in the Kalos region, even come from? Now here's the thing, we don't know exactly how many years have passed since the events of X and Y, and that's where things are going to be critical because we don't know what's happened in between that time. The only thing we can be sure of is that Quasartico Inc., even if it was present in X and Y, had like zero influence or power, and now they do all of a sudden. So much so that they have the power to reconstruct the city so that it has bioengineered biomes for Pokemon to live in. That's crazy. Jet seems like an older woman though, which means that at the very least, Quasartico Inc. has been something for some time now at the very least. Jet doesn't really give us much, but we can also look to Vinny. Vinny is a large man who wears sunglasses. He works at Quasartico Inc. as Jet's secretary. He always seems busy and has a reputation for being a fast worker. Now, when I first laid eyes on Vinny, I figured he might have been like in some relation to Lysander, but the more I look at him, the more wrong I feel about that. But regardless, he is probably going to play like a major role in the story, and I feel like he's going to be the one that actually really surprise us, right? Massive, serious looking gentleman in a suit and sunglasses that works for the CEO directly? Yeah, he's going to be the one to betray her, straight up. I have a gut feeling he's going to be one of the very few people who actually knows what's going on behind the scenes of the urban redevelopment plan and has always been fully against it, but had absolutely no say and no power in changing the outcome. I'm calling this right now. During the later half of Legend ZA, this man is coming into AZ's hotel and he's going to be begging the player, Urbane and Tawny, and AZ for help in stopping Jet. Mark my damn words. Now, of course, there is a very, very good chance that I am completely wrong, completely off base, and I'd be perfectly okay with that. Pokemon has done a lot better lately with not making things as predictable as they might seem at first glance. Whatever plot twists you may have for me, please throw them my way, cause I'm all for it. But as of right now, Jet, Vinny, and Quasartico Inc., no idea what's going on there, but I'm sure we'll see in due time. But I am very nervous, if we're being honest, that this is another Rose and Oleana situation. Please do not let this be another Rose and Oleana situation. Oh my god, I will lose my mind. The next major question, and probably the biggest question, is what in the world is AZ doing, bruh? Before anything else, why don't we go ahead and read his description too. AZ is a man who stands over 9 feet tall. He's the owner of Hotel Z and claims to be 3,000 years old. He quietly harbors a strong determination and will. Okay, first off, Hotel Z, did not know it was called that until this very second. I'm not even kidding you. Secondly, his presence is the only thing that solidifies the fact that this is a sequel. He looks happy and content running his hotel at the side of his best friend Floette, who we know didn't come back to him until the very end of the events of Pokemon X and Y. And that's super cute and sweet and all, but what in any of his history could have possibly led him to decide, yeah, I want to run a hotel? And specifically in Lumiose of all places. When you first get a glimpse of the hotel in the trailer, we can see from the outside that it's been kind of run down, a little worn out. It's old, it's dirty. You could definitely see that time has taken its toll by all of the vines and plants like surrounding the entirety of the building. I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind that we are going to be spending a good majority of this game helping AZ out in return for allowing us to lodge for free at his hotel. Unless it's not free and we have to do like a No More Heroes situation where we have to pay rent or something, that would be a really cool concept, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But he's clearly been here for a while and decided to settle down in Lumiose City, which is crazy because he's been all around the world. So if you wanted to run something like a hotel, you would think not to run it in the busiest place in the entirety of the region, where there's probably hundreds of hotels around already. I mean, granted, he doesn't look like he's upset by the low to no business that he's clearly getting because he looks pretty content and happy just talking to the player alongside Floette, so I don't know. I think that his intentions are completely pure, which is why I can definitely imagine a situation in which he is completely on board with the redevelopment plan of Lumiose City, but maybe he's not happy with the way Quasartico Inc. is doing it. I could definitely see a situation in which he is more in tune with Pokemon than he lets on, and so throughout the game he's kind of worried about the fact that all of these areas are being like bioengineered, utilizing the power of Pokemon, and it's hurting people people in Pokemon more than it's intending to, and so he wants to help out. And so therefore, he recruits the help of you and Urbane and Tawny to help out the Pokemon in those biomes by like maybe, you know, taking down Quasartico Inc. or something along those lines. Again, super duper stretch, but again, we don't really have much to go on. The one thing we do know for sure is that this is our home, AZ runs it, and we're gonna go back and forth cleaning up the hotel and making it a livable place so that people in Pokemon are welcome in that hotel and it feels a lot more homey. What AZ's actual role is in the story, completely beyond me, but his name is in the title of the game, so I can't imagine that they're just gonna sit there and backseat him. If they do that, I feel like people would be so mad because he is such a major player in the lore of Pokemon and Kalos and stuff like that. So there's simply no way he does that, right? I don't know. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see what happens there. The next major point of focus leans towards Zygarde, actually. The only time we see Zygarde is like halfway through the trailer. In that shot, he's in his 10% form looking at the tower. That doesn't give us anything to run on whatsoever. What is it doing there? What is its problem specifically with Lumio City? It definitely isn't like trapped or anything like that by Quasartico Inc. It looks like it could probably, if it really wanted to, come and go as it pleased, but it's definitely here for a reason. And the fact that it's in its 10% form means that for whatever reason, it's been weakened. Like, why is it in its base state in Lumio City? Was it hiding from something? Was its power taken from it somehow? And how was its power taken from it? When you really think about it, maybe it's possible that the Wild Zone situation is powered by Zygarde, but not by its own will. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, it could totally be an aesthetic thing, but I feel like it's not a coincidence that the Wild Zone area, like, aesthetic and color is green. It could have been blue, but it's intentionally green. That probably means something, right? One thing is for certain though, I'm pretty sure that Zygarde is 1000% gonna be on our side. The reason I believe that is simply because of the Zygarde cells that are going to be scattered around Lumio City that we have to collect. Now, how big of a role these Zygarde cells are going to play in the actual story, I have no idea. But if they're a driving force, then I imagine that we're going to be collecting those, getting Zygarde back up to full power, and taking on Quasartico Inc. alongside it. Because, I mean, I don't know, it'd be kind of weird to have all of the Zygarde cells just as collectibles for funsies, right? There's no way they do something like that. Maybe we'll end up getting some form of like unique radar that allows us to track down Zygarde cells throughout the city, and that's why we have free reign, and that's why we have like parkour and stuff like that, so we can get around the city easier to find these Zygarde cells. Because I mean, come on, there's gotta be a bunch of them, right? And he has 3 forms. Now here's my thing, is it going to be fighting alongside us, like right beside us, like a Koraidon Miraidon situation? Or is it going to be like, oh, I collected enough cells, let's see if we can find Zygarde, and that triggers a new event to progress the story? I have to imagine it was the former, because they probably did develop off of the idea of having a partner Pokemon like Koraidon and Miraidon that develops and evolves throughout the story with new abilities and power-ups, so they could utilize that in a Legend situation without having to utilize multiple Pokemon like they did in the original Pokemon Legends. Does that make sense? Which, me personally, I'd be totally fine with, because I had no problems with Koraidon and Miraidon. And why is it that I feel like hunting those Zygarde cells is going to be the worst part of the game? Maybe that's just a me thing, because I hate hunting down small things that are like super hard to see in video games. But oh my goodness, I just have a gut feeling that's probably going to be like the most frustrating part of the game for me, but we'll see. I really hope that that radar is good. Actually, we'll take it a step back. There better be a goddamn radar. Anyhow, the last thing on my mind here is the fact that the progression system is going to be very, very different this time around in multiple ways. Now, we already talked in depth about the fact that the progression system is going to be vastly different from what we know before. Like, yeah, we are a Pokemon trainer, and there are other Pokemon trainers that we're going to be battling throughout Lumio City, but none of us are participating in the traditional gym challenge. TLDR, in that progression system video, I basically broke down the possible idea of us utilizing a point-based system like the anime to progress through whatever rankings we're going through in this specific Lumio City challenge. But if we're not working to become Pokemon champion in this specific case, what are we leading to? What are we working towards? What is the #1 rank when you've beaten everybody else in the city? Could not even begin to imagine, but I do hope that it plays out like a tournament situation. That would be really cool. I really don't know where else to take that, but I have my hopes. And then the last thing is the Pokédex, because we have a Pokédex, we have a Rotom phone, but how did we get the Pokédex situation going on? Because usually we get that installed by a professor, right? And even if we didn't, that information has to be going somewhere to somebody, right? Unless it's for our own just personal use, because the trainers from X and Y, Callum and Serena, already filled out a Pokédex for the Kalos region, so I can't really imagine Sycamore needs another situation like that, but maybe he does. Maybe Sycamore is still here. I don't know. I can imagine I'm gonna go and try and find his lab. Especially in the situation in which there's probably gonna be new Mega Evolutions that the professor has never heard about. No shot in hell he passes up on that. So I don't know, we're gonna have to see where that leads us, because there is definitely a lot of questions I have in regards to how the Pokédex works this time around if we're not utilizing it like we did in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Regardless though, I do think that it's gonna be a good time, and hopefully this story is a lot of fun with a lot of mysteries to unravel and things like that. But hey, you know what? Maybe that's just me. So that just about does it for this one. I don't remember if I did a story one a while. No, I did do a story theory a while back, but people got mad at me for that. So I decided not to do any more like theories and just, you know, light guesses on what I think could possibly be happening based on the little information that we have present to us, because I couldn't have possibly been more wrong either way. So honestly, I feel like this was still a fun little discussion to have, because now that we really don't know what's going on with Quasartico Inc., with Lumio City and the development plan and yada yada yada, I feel like it's pretty fair and valid to ask a lot of these questions. But hey, you know what? Maybe you feel differently than me, which is why I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and I want you to tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Do you think that I might be onto something here? Do you think that Quasartico Inc. could actually be evil, that Vinny could be a decent guy and he's going to ask for help in stopping Quasartico Inc., that AZ is going to be a big piece of the story in helping us take down Quasartico because he is scared for the Pokemon that are living in Lumio City currently? Or am I completely off my rocker? I need to get back on the pills and I need to sit down somewhere because none of that stuff is happening. This story is taking a completely different direction and we don't even need to think that hard about it. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yes, sir, it does appear to be Skedaddle o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
So can't handle us, so cool, baby, scandalous. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So cool, baby, watch it now. It's a you. Can you handle us? So cool, baby, scandalous. I'll show you.